Gao Tu had always been strong in front of others. He wore his mask so well that nobody could ever tell how broken he was inside. To the world, he looked like a reliable bada, someone who could be trusted, someone who never showed weakness. But behind closed doors, alone in the silence of his apartment, Gao Tu's reality was nothing but pain. His body was failing him, his strength was fading, and the life growing inside him drained him more and more each day. He was pregnant, abandoned, and suffering in silence. The world didn't know the truth. No one knew that Gao Tu was actually an Omega, not the beta he pretended to be. He had lived his whole life suppressing his nature, hiding his identity, and protecting his secret with every breath. He had used suppressants since he was young, lying to everyone, including himself. The lie was his protection, his survival, his only way to remain by the side of Shen Wenlang, the man he loved with his entire heart. But now, with a child inside him and his body fragile from years of suppressants, Gao Tu was collapsing. The doctor's words echoed in his mind like a curse. Your condition is dangerous. The pregnancy is too risky. You may not survive. He should have listened, but how could he? This child was his everything. This child was Wenlang's child. No matter how much danger surrounded him, no matter how much pain consumed him, Gao Tu could not abandon this life. To give up the baby would feel like giving up on Wenlang himself. And so, even as the days grew longer and darker, he clung to his suffering, hoping it would all be worth it in the end. But what hurt the most wasn't the pain. It wasn't even the fear of death. What tore Gao Tu apart was the loneliness. He had always been used to silence, but this silence was different. It was heavier. It pressed against his chest, making it hard to breathe. There was no one to comfort him, no one to share his fears with, no one to remind him he wasn't alone. Gao Tu had never felt so abandoned. And in those moments of despair, he wished for Wenlang more than anything else in the world. Every night he curled into himself on the thin mattress, holding his stomach protectively. Tears would slip down his cheeks as he whispered into the darkness. Wenlang, if only you were here, if only we were a couple. If only you loved me the way I love you. I wouldn't be suffering like this. I wouldn't be so scared. I wouldn't feel like I'm dying all alone. His voice was always soft, broken, filled with the kind of love that had never been returned. Wenlang didn't know. He didn't know Gao Tu's secret, didn't know about the baby, didn't know how much Gao Tu's heart longed for him every single second. And Gao Tu could never tell him. The thought of rejection haunted him. What if Wenlang found out and turned away in disgust? What if he hated him for hiding his true nature all these years? What if he rejected the baby? That fear was enough to keep Gao Tu in hiding, even if it meant suffering alone. But love is cruel. No matter how much he told himself to forget Wenlang, his heart clung tighter. Every time the baby moved inside him, Gao Tu thought of Wenlang. Every time pain tore through his body, he wished Wenlang were there to hold him, to protect him, to whisper that everything would be okay. The longing was endless, and it was killing him slowly. Sometimes, Gao Tu would close his eyes and imagine an impossible dream. He pictured Wenlang sitting beside him, smiling softly, reaching out to touch his swollen belly. He imagined hearing him say, Gao Tu, you don't have to suffer anymore. I'm here. I'll take care of you. I'll take care of our child. The fantasy always ended with tears. Because when Gao Tu opened his eyes, he was still alone, still weak, still abandoned. Reality was merciless. His days became a cycle of pain and longing. The nausea, the dizziness, the sharp cramps in his stomach, these were battles he fought alone. Each step he took felt heavier, each breath shallower, each moment harder than the last. Sometimes he thought he might faint and never wake up. Sometimes he thought the baby wouldn't survive another night. Yet even in his weakest moments, he pressed his hand to his stomach and whispered, Stay with me. Don't leave me. I'll protect you, even if I have nothing left. But the truth was cruel. He had already been left behind. By Wenlang, by the world, by the life he once knew. Gao Tu's body trembled constantly now, his strength slipping away. Food had no taste, and even drinking water felt exhausting. He wanted to scream, to call Wenlang's name, to beg for help. But he stayed silent. He had chosen this suffering, and he would endure it. Still, the nights were the worst. In the quiet darkness, when the world outside went still, Gao Tu's thoughts consumed him. He remembered Wenlang's smile, his voice, the way his presence filled a room. He remembered all the years they had spent together, all the unspoken feelings, all the moments he had treasured in silence. He remembered every kindness, every glance, every small gesture that had made his love grow stronger. And he asked himself the same question every night. Why can't you love me back? If only Wenlang had loved him, Gao Tu would not be suffering like this. If only they were a couple, Gao Tu would not be lying alone in a cold apartment, struggling to survive. If only Wenlang had looked at him with the same love he carried, this pregnancy would not feel like a death sentence but a blessing shared between two people. But wishes were only dreams, and dreams always broke when morning came. Every morning, Gao Tu woke weaker than the night before. The world looked dimmer, his body felt heavier, his hope thinner. Yet even as despair clawed at him, he clung to the tiny heartbeat inside him. That heartbeat was all he had left, the last piece of Wenlang he could hold on to. Sometimes he hated himself for loving Wenlang so much. He hated that even while dying, even while abandoned, his heart still beat for him. He hated that no matter how much it hurt, he couldn't stop longing for him. And he hated that Wenlang would probably never know the truth, never know the sacrifice, never know how much Gao Tu had given up just to keep their child alive. But love is blind, and Gao Tu's love was endless. And so, every day he fought. He fought through the weakness, through the pain, through the loneliness. He fought because the child deserved a chance to live. He fought because his heart still belonged to Wenlang, even if Wenlang would never claim it. He fought because even abandoned, even left to die, Gao Tu refused to let go of hope. Hope that maybe, just maybe one day Wenlang would know. But deep in his heart, Gao Tu knew that love, no matter how one-sided, had given him strength to endure. He held on to the child, held on to the pain, held on to the memories of Wenlang because they were all he had left. The world may have left him to die. Wenlang may never know the truth. But in this fragile, fleeting existence, Gao Tu chose love above everything else. And even if tomorrow never came, even if his body gave in, even if his body gave in, even if tomorrow never came, even if tomorrow never came, even if his body gave in, he would die knowing he had carried Wenlang's child with every ounce of devotion in his heart.